Welcome to my YouTube page. I'm Tracie Mahan, and this is a testimonial by a client by the name of Sandy who has done multiple sessions of the Ascension Activation Sessions, and her story about what keeps bringing her back, and a little bit about timelines as well. So stay tuned and take a listen.
I'm ready.
Hi, everybody. I want to introduce you to a wonderful new friend of mine. Sandy is here to talk to us about her experience with the Ascension Sessions. And so I just want to ask you, Sandy, what brought you to the Ascension Sessions, and just kind of walk me through maybe your first experience with that. And maybe what I want to say also to the audience is that we've done a few sessions now, and we're going to talk about how that's evolved for you doing more than one session. So first, tell me how you got started with it. Like, how did you find this? What brought you to Ascension Sessions?
Well, I think like most people, there's a lot of energy coming in right now, and it brings up a lot of information you're trying to process. And I started meditating more, and the more I meditate, the more things started coming up and processing it. And I knew I was working through stuff. And then I believe Spirit. I know that the Spirit brought me to you. You came up to me on the internet and YouTube, and which I wasn't usually watching it, and you were there. So the minute I saw you, I knew there was a connection there, and I knew that I was supposed to contact you. And that's the way it works with me. I've learned try not to resist. Go with it, because I used to really resist, and it really held me back. And now I try really hard not to resist. And so I contacted you, and we had our first Ascension session, and I really didn't know what I was walking into. And then I met Daniel and Spirit World and the Council, and everyone is so loving and giving. And the first one, it was a little bit harder getting through, not knowing, and working through it, and answering questions, and I think feeling comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot through the first session. I learned a lot about myself, and it got me very interested in my journey and my path of where I was going. The more I started talking, the more information I was getting, the more I realized it just kept bringing up more and more questions of things that I needed to know. And I had a lot of things that have happened in my life that I just had not been able to process. Even though I had found out truths, there were things that I thought I had processed that obviously I hadn't. And during my healing sessions, I have been able to talk about it and bring it up and have an understanding of the experience and why it happened and what Ascension is all about and how powerful it is. And going back, and you need to go back and listen to it 2 or 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
I started going back and listening to them and writing down questions that was coming up during the sessions. And my goodness, I was just so surprised all the questions I had for the next one. And each one gets a little bit deeper, and the more understanding that I have, the more comes to me, understanding comes to me. And I understand that they're just not going to release a lot of information to you right up front. You need to start absorbing it. And that's, to me, that's the process of each session that I have. I go back and I process it. And as I process it, I have lots of questions that come up. And I love it because I have lots of questions the next time. And it's been a wonderful journey. I've been able to have such a better understanding of where I'm going and what my mission is, and timelines, all the timelines I have going on. Why I feel confusion sometimes because of how timelines are dropping and timelines are changing, and a better understanding of that. And each session takes me deeper into that, lets me go deeper into it. I become more empowered in myself, and the healing that Daniel takes me into, the healing rooms. I've actually been able to bring other loved ones and friends into the healing room with me, and felt the power of the healing in there. And during my sessions, they went over how I could do it and how I could bring other people in and the process. And the first time I did it, I thought, okay, I'm gonna try this. And I just did this recently, and this is one of my questions in my session here, my next one that I want to go into, because during that, when I connected hands with my sister, I felt something very magnetic going on. I felt like I was saying to her, just really hang on, don't let go. I felt something very magnetic going on between us, and I'm not sure what happened during that time, but I know something happened, and I'm anxious during my next session to talk with Spirit and find out, what happened during that. Did we activate each other, or I felt like there was some type of deep activation that took place.
Yeah.
And it's made me want to bring other people in, and made me understand my timelines, that I have options. If this timeline drops, I have this option that I can go to. If another timeline takes, I have options depending on the timelines, and the timelines are depending on the collective. And there's just so much I have learned during my sessions. And I love Tracie, and I love Daniel, and I love the spirit world, and the Lermans who've been working with me. And they've actually been working with me for a couple of years now, guiding me. I knew someone was guiding me, but I wasn't sure who it was.
And a lot of people are finding that stuff out too. Yeah.
Yes,
So
finding out.
now I know who this is. The energy's familiar to them. They just never knew who it was.
Absolutely.
Powerful.
Well, it's nice. It's nice to get confirmation on a lot.
Yeah.
And each session that I take opens me up more. It empowers me more, and makes me believe in myself more, and makes me believe in what's happening more, and the energies, and with the energy, and more than anything, it's helped me really process these high energies that come in, because I understand them now, which I didn't before. And so I'm thinking about them differently. So I think, I know when a high energy is coming in, I'm going, whoa, it's really high today. But then I just, I'm processing those energies differently. So all the upgrades I have received, so many upgrades and healings during these sessions, and that, I think, is what is really helping me process out the old stuff I don't need, and let the new stuff and the new beliefs come in, and drop the old programs. I know now that I've been running off of old programs.
Yeah.
Not that I know, but understanding it. I think that's the key. It's learning to understand it. And I think once you understand it, then that's when you can really process it. And Spirit and you and Daniel have all helped me with the understanding. So with that, I'm grateful, and I'm eager for our next session. I'm eager to find out what happened in the healing room with my sister.
Yeah.
I know something dynamic, believe that something happened in there, and I'm happy for my journey. Whatever option, whatever timeline drops in my lap, I'm ready for the journey that it's going to take me, and I feel good about it, and I don't feel hesitant about it anymore. So
yeah. Let's talk about the timeline thing a little bit, because as you're talking about it, it's reminding me about that. So if I remember right, in your session, they were saying you have X amount of timelines, and it depends on what event happens in the collective. If I remember right, the collective would be involved in whatever the event was. So let's just say an earthquake versus a, I don't know, fire or something. So we're just going to bring up something like that. So if the earthquake happens, you have these three timelines that will fall into place. Or if the fire happens, then you have these three timelines. And those are disaster things, of course, but then good things as well. So, and it's just like major decisions people make in life. If you choose this direction, these timelines are available. You choose that direction, these timelines. But the collective belief system was a major part of that. Am I right? Do I remember that right?
Yes.
So if you're believing there's going to be a major earthquake as a collective, then that could create a major earthquake, and then that creates these timelines over here. So I remember in your session they were saying, well, it depends on where the collective's at the time. If this happened, if the collective believes for this, then this
Hmm.
will happen. If the collective believes for that, then this will happen. And that was kind of an eye opener for me in this session as well. And that's what I love about the sessions is, you know, getting to go along for the ride as a conscious channel. And if you are new to this page, Daniel is the channel that I bring through. That's why people reference Daniel. Um, but yeah, there's so much to learn and so much more expansion. And as you were saying, the more we do this, it just keeps evolving and evolving, and bigger things are being shown to us. And it's kind of like they can't show you, you know, college math when you're at third grade level. They got to teach you all of this stuff. So yeah, we're learning all of this stuff and integrating all these new things. Tell me a little bit about, because I know they tell me, have them listen to it 3 times. It comes in layers. So kind of describe how that experience works for you when you do the initial session, then you go back and listen, and then maybe listen again. How does that work for you with the layers?
Well, for me, what I find is that during the session, you really think you're paying attention to everything, but I kind of go like into a twilight zone. I don't realize I was in it, but I was in it. And when I re-listen to the session, I hear things. I make notes. I've learned to make notes now when I start re-listening to it, because it brings up questions. I go, oh, I don't remember that. And so I started. I didn't at first, but now I know. So heads up. and and so I started taking notes. And the third time, like this morning, I listened to our last session for the third time, feeling comfortable and knowing. And but every time you listen to it, you're going to hear something or maybe understand it or question it maybe a little bit differently than the last time you heard it or you didn't hear it. So I've learned to listen to them at least 2 or 3 times. That's really important. You think you know what it is, but each time you go, what? You know, that's interesting. It took me a lot, like on the timelines. You know, I have options, like you said, completely depending on what the collective does.
Mm-hmm.
One timeline that drop off may not be a big enough event to move me to where I need to go. So different, you know, it's different timelines. So these are all things that you learn during the session, and everyone is an individual. I know it will be personal to every individual, but the timelines are really important because I'm sure a lot of people are feeling confusion. One day you feel like you're going to do this, the next day you think you're supposed to be doing that, and pretty soon you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing. You feel like you're supposed to be doing something, but you're not sure what. And they cleared that up with me, with the timelines and the options. The reason I'm feeling confusion is because it all depends the timelines, and that depends on what the collective decides as a whole.
So you're kind of in limbo until the collective
Yes,
falls
yes.
into place.
And that really helped because I realized I'm sure everyone has options. And so it all depends on the timeline. And that's why I'm feeling the confusion as to, you know, what I need to be doing. And that really cleared me up and calmed me down.
Yeah.
It should everybody. but to me, that's just moving forward with the sessions. I'm learning a lot, and I did QHHT, and I love that. But to me, we're all going through Ascension right now. We're all going through it, and to me, it's going forward. I want to keep going forward because I believe that is where we're going to be going.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's wonderful that it's exactly what it does. It helps us to um, talk to these different councils. You don't realize how many galactic councils are out there till you start tapping into this, And doing these multiple sessions, I think for me as well as the channel, bringing in these channels, we're meeting new beings all the time that I
Oh,
haven't met yet. And there's so many out there. And so that's another experience that we've been having. And, oh, who's coming in today? So
well,
that,
I didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing. And I was doing all these things and getting ready for all these things. I couldn't understand. And with my very first session, what I learned with you is through the Lehrmans that they had been working with me, because during my session, they recorded them saying, yes, and she's doing everything, she's doing everything perfectly, just as they had directed me to do. So I felt better because I felt like, okay, I am.
not crazy. I'm not making this up.
Yes, I'm not crazy. I'm not making this up. And part of that is the confusion
Yeah.
of the timelines. And I might not even use what I was doing. That timeline might drop away. I may understand that, but I understand the process of why I was doing, or why I do what I do. So that it really helped with the confusion there.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. And I thank you for coming on here with me and just talking about this. Is I know a lot of people kind of question what is the Ascension session. So I'm trying to get some information out there for people, because I'm just coming up myself on the 1 year mark of this all happening for me. So it's new to me as well. And these journeys are fascinating. Anyone that is new to it, what I do is I go into a channel, and channel takes you on a journey. And um, yeah, Sandy is one of the ones that has gone on probably the most journeys, I think, out of everyone I know.
And Tracie, I'm not a social media person. I don't Facebook. I'm not. You might find me on there, but my page is blank. Just because you have to be there in order to get on like yours. Or I just, as I told you in the very beginning, why I ended up on YouTube, I have no idea. I was not a YouTube person. I used to say, who sits around watching these little videos on YouTube? And then here I am. I'm a YouTube person. I'm very.
Now you're going to be on it.
I know why, because it took me to where I needed to go,
Yeah.
and I'm very, very grateful to YouTube. But I am a very private person. Look how many sessions it's taken me before I came forward. But I realized that it's a
I
very.
love you for doing it. I appreciate it. And I value everyone's privacy. That's one thing that's really big to me. And there isn't a whole lot of clips of sessions on there because I value your privacy. I don't even think you and I have any clips on the YouTube, because to me,
No,
sessions are very personal. They're very personal. We go into your journey. We're talking about your stuff, and every once in a while, I'll get one that's kind of a collective information. And if the person is willing, then I'll share it. But
I realize how
personal
important they are.
journey.
If
Yeah.
anyone wants to activate and move forward, we all need help. We all need help, and dissolving some of the confusion is the first step.
I love it. All right. And I love you. Thank you for coming on. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And more information will be down in the description box below if you want to go to my website and sign up for an Ascension session. There are, if you are international, you're going to have to email me. So send me an email, because the online scheduler will not let you schedule. And those who have figured out how to navigate that, we've ended up with the wrong time frames. So please just email me and we'll figure it out that way. And if you are within the States, you should be able to schedule online. And I hope to see everyone soon. These sessions have been amazing. Thank you, Sandy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.